Hey, so today we're going to be talking about notes on the low E, notes on the A string, and then we're going to talk about how to utilize that to find chords on the fretboard. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at all of our natural notes from our open low E to our 12th fret. So let's say those as we go. I'm just going to be picking, it doesn't matter how you're picking down here. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to play an open low E, that's an E, and then F, because they're half steps, right? F sharp, G, G sharp, then we have an A sharp, B, C, and B and C, that's the other half step, so we have E, E and F, and then we have B and C right there on the 7 and 8. Then we're going to shift, we're going to go C sharp, D, D sharp, and then we have an E, and just for funsies, there's our F, because there's our half step, E and F, 12, 13, double dot, right? So now we're going to start right back here on this E, and we're going to use flats on the way back down. So now we have E, E flat, D, D flat, then we have C, B, B flat, there's our A flat, G, G flat, F, and then E. I highly, highly recommend that you say the notes out loud as you go. It helps. It helps you memorize them. We're going to do the same thing on the A string just right now. Here we go. All right, so I'm just starting on the open A, and then we have A sharp, and then we have a B, then we have a C, C sharp, 5th fret, D, D sharp, E, there's our half step, F, E and F, right? 7, 8, E and F on the A string. 9th fret's F sharp, and then we have a G, G sharp, and then there's our 12th fret, that's an A. All right, let's descend, let's use our flats. We have an A flat, G, G flat, and then here's our F, E, E flat, D, D flat, C, B, because that's a half step, B flat, and then A. All right, so we said all of our natural notes, ascending, descending on the low E and the A string. All right, so now, if we were like, we need to be able to play A, B, C, D, E, F, G, sharp or flat, major or minor, at least one shape or one inversion of these chords, okay? So now one quick way to do that without getting into bar chords is we're going to look at something called a power chord. And so real quick, if we looked back at what we just did, then we did like this. Check this out. It's real easy. If I played an open low E and the 2nd fret of my A, which is a B note, that'd be the 1st note and the 5th note in the key of E major. Okay, so I'm playing an E and I'm playing a B. If I played both of those together, it's an E. It's not major or minor, it's just an E chord. Now if you saw an E major or an E minor chord and you did, that would totally be fine. Now, if we played an F, let's do the next one. So our next available note on the low E is this guy right here. That's an F. All right, now what I do is I'm gonna go boop, boop, boop. So that's just 3rd fret of my A string right there. It's a C if you remember, because we got A sharp, B, C. So that would pass as an F chord. Any kind of F chord. If you played an F major 7, or just a regular F or F minor. So here's F minor. We're gonna look at this here in a second. That's going to be with the bar chord. Same thing can be applied on that A string. If I did this, for instance, if I played an open A with the second fret of my D string, which we totally didn't do, we could go D, D sharp, E, right? That's the fifth of A, because A, B, C, D, E. And I played just my A string with that D string, and somebody played an A or an A minor, and he did that. That's totally fine. That's just the power chord version. It's like the light, L-I-T-E version of it. All right, let me show you where this kind of this starts getting kind of handy. So if somebody said play G minor, and you didn't know this, that's G minor, right? You know, you got G, but G minor is kind of crazy. And you didn't want to do the bar. You could just play these two. And now you could do pointer ring or pointer pinky. And that's third fret of your low E, fifth fret of your A. Now, you could use this shape for any chord. Now here's G sharp, or they would call it A flat. You know, if we're coming down, here's A flat, fourth fret. And that's major or minor. Like there's my B flat right there. So now there's another B flat. That's sixth fret of our low E, up to the eighth fret, which that's a B flat to an F on the A string. If we wanted to play it down here, first fret of your A string with the third fret of your D string, which is an F. Like that could totally work for, you know, B flat major, B flat minor. Okay, let's look at the bar chords real quick. Just want to get further into this. So there's four shapes. There's four shapes we're going to look at. Okay? So if I wanted to, let's say play an A major chord, and I got this. Let's say there's four other guitar players, and they're all playing this. And I'm just playing A string down. And you were like, let's switch it up a little bit. Well, first thing I would do is be like, all right, find an A note. So that was the A note on the A string. Open A, right? That's an A. There's an A note on the low E string as well. E, you could do like the E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. There it is, fifth fret, right? And I bar it off, okay? Remember, whenever I'm barring, try to line yourself up with that little metal thing right there. That's the fret itself. I'm using this side of my hand, my pointer finger specifically. Ring finger is going to be on the 7 of my A. Pinky is going to be right underneath that, and my middle finger is going to be right there on the 6th fret of my G. It's almost the same exact notes, except we have that octave on the top. So this is our major chord right here. And it doesn't matter what the root is in terms of, like, you know, shape. We can use this shape so long as the note, the lowest note we're playing, is on the low E string. So if I said play an A flat major, because that fourth fret is an A flat. If I said play a G flat, because there's G flat. Okay, what about a C chord? How about that? It's up here on the 8th fret. And then you're like, okay, I could have totally did this. Which, yeah, that's legal. That's totally fine. But what about C minor? Oh, you know, what are we gonna do? So for instance, let's take this chord right here, this 8th fret. I'm just barring that off. Remember, we could always do this, and that's fine and dandy. But let's take it a step further. I'm barring off the 8th fret. These two are going to be right here, like in the major chord, but this middle note right here on the 9th fret of our G string, that's our, what is that, an E? It's an E note right there. Just FYI. That's an E note. Now we got to lower the 3rd in our minor chords. So what we're going to do is we're going to play this 8th fret right here. And that's taken up by that bar right there, by that pointer finger. So now you got the 10th fret of your A, 10th fret of your D, and your middle finger is going to be picked. So you're not playing major now. You want this minor chord. And what I'm doing is I'm letting my middle finger help my pointer finger out, okay? So now that shape can be used for any minor chord as long as the root's on the A string. You just gotta know what that bottom note is. Like right now, I'm on a B flat. There's B flat minor. Okay, so now let's take it to the next set of strings. What I mean by that is we're gonna look at the root on the A string now. So if I wanted to play, there's my C chord, right? Okay, but what if most of my chords were down here and I didn't want to have to jump every time? Here's my C. That's my C note right there. It's just like the C on the 8th fret of my low E string. So now look, check this out. Some people like this. And I'm gonna show you how to do that real quick, and I'm gonna give you another option. That's 3rd fret of my A string, that's my C. Ring finger would be on the 5th fret of my D string. Sorry, that's middle finger. Pointer finger, middle finger. Ring finger's on the 5th of my G, and then pinky's on the 5th fret of my B string. And then I'm also, if you want to, I don't do it all the time. The bottom part of that pointer finger that I'm barring off with my A string, barring off the A string, is barring that 3rd fret of my high E as well. So I've got all that. That's my major version. Now, this is what I do. I actually use my ring finger to play all 3 of those notes on my D, G, and B. And if you really want to, you can, if you're a freak of nature like me, I can bend my ring finger and just bend the 1st ligament. That way that high E can read it. Don't do that. Don't even worry about that right now. What I am interested in is trying to get at least the middle 4 to ring out. So the 3rd fret of my A, 5th fret of my D, 5th fret of my G, 5th fret of my B string. That's a C major chord, a regular old C major chord. Now, it's the same C major chord as this, except this one's got a couple extra on the bottom. Don't worry about that. There's my major version, okay? So now if I was like, where's my C sharp? I'm just looking at that bottom note on the A string. Now the same thing can be said about that C sharp on the low E string, right? There's my 9th fret. That's the C sharp. There's my C sharp. Go up one more fret. What chord is it? It's a D. It's a D major. There's D flat. There's E flat. Or D sharp. It just depends on which direction you're coming from. E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Okay, so now let's do our minor version, okay? And I think the minor is actually a little bit easier on the hand in terms of, if we're looking at the root on the A string, those inversions. So now look at B minor. I like to start with B minor. So first of all, look at A minor first. Check that out, okay? 2nd fret of your D, 2nd fret of your G, 1st fret of your B, open high E, open A, right? So if I wanted to turn this into a closed position, I would do like this, move it up a fret, and then bar those open strings. Okay, so we don't gotta go into that too much, but I just want to show you how to do it. 1st fret of your A, 1st fret of your high E, bar that off. Ring finger, so still that power chord. The power chord is the core connecting piece in this case. Ring finger's on the 3rd fret of our D, pinky's on the 3rd fret of our G, middle finger's on the 2nd fret of our B string. That's a full-fledged B flat. It's B flat or A sharp, because that 1st fret can be called A sharp or B flat. Now, down here, 1st fret, just like an F chord, that's the most difficult one to bar. So if we move it on up, let's say 5th fret right there. 5th fret's a D on the A string. There's my D minor. There's another D minor. But what about D flat? There's E flat right here. Or D sharp, E minor, F minor. So now check this out. One way to bounce back and forth between the two and to kind of practice this is, say for instance, here's our G flat. G flat major. Okay, so let's find a G flat major on the A string. That right there on the 9th fret of our A string, that's a G flat or F sharp. See the inversion I'm using? I'm not worried about the high E if I use those. All right, what about G flat minor? Okay. What about B flat major? Okay, so we got this one. It's the first one down there. And whenever I'm doing this bar, whenever I'm doing this version with my ring finger, I'm not barring with my pointer finger. I'm playing the 1st fret, and then I'm barring off with my ring finger. And that's 3rd fret of my D, G, B. Okay? There's my B flat. That's 8th fret, 6, 8, 8, 9, 8, 8, or 6, 6. Golly, what'd I say? 6, 8, 8, 7, 6, 6. That's what I meant to say. B flat's right there. 6th fret of my A string, major shape. It's E flat major. 11th fret of my low E, major shape. What about A? Let's do A minor. Or, if you really want to get crazy, 12th fret of my A string. I got to cut away, so it's a little easier. You don't got to do all that. You don't have to do all that. Just go through there, say the names of the shapes. I mean, not saying the names of the shapes. Say the names of the notes. Ascending and descending. Remember, sharps go up, flats go down. And then those 4 shapes. Here's A major, A minor. And then here's D major, D minor. But with those 4 shapes, you can play every single major and minor chord that you need on the guitar. But good luck. If you got any questions, just holler at me.